Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto awakens multiple bloodline and smoke release power. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. Jiraiya stood over the sleeping body of a young child. The child was the son of his late student and the heiress of the Uzumaki clan. Both died protecting their newborn son and the village they both cherished. Jiraiya, how is this possible? Asks another older man. I don't know, sensei. You know as well as I do that Minato was an orphan, Jiraiya responds. I know that, Jiraiya, but the Hyuga keep strict check of any and all members of their clan. If one of them went off the reservation and mated with anyone that wasn't one of their clan, they probably would have had that person, their mate, and the child killed, Sarutobi says. I know, the only thing I can think of is that it was a repressed gene that was carried through one of his ancestors and somehow chose to activate in the boy, Jiraiya says. Then what about him turning to smoke? Surely Minato couldn't have genes of the Ibari clan as well as the genes of the Hyuga clan hidden inside of him, Sarutobi questions. Before Jiraiya could respond, a new voice enters the conversation. That would be my doing. Danzo, what the hell did you do? Sarutobi says angrily. Calm down, Hiruzen. I merely injected several vials of blood we seized from one of Orochimaru's hidden laboratories. They contained the blood of several clans in and out of Konoha. As you know, the blood of the Ibari can be transferred along with their ability to someone not of the clan through a blood transfusion. I had no idea it would actually become a part of the boy, resulting in him permanently having that clan's bloodline, Danzo explains. Danzo, I have overlooked many of the despicable things that you have done in the past, Sarutobi starts. I would think you would be happy about this, Hiruzen, Danzo interjects. Happy? You know the Ibari clan has a major weakness that's fatal. Why the hell would I want that to happen to Naruto? Sarutobi questions. Sensei, it's already been done. Regardless of his motives, I admit if it's stronger and stable it could be a strong advantage for the kid, Jiraiya chimes in. Not you too, Jiraiya-kun. I thought you especially would be upset about this, Sarutobi says. I am upset, but with the rumored Kekkei Genkei of the Uzumaki clan, the bloodline should stabilize to something even greater than even the strongest member of the Ibari clan could have ever imagined. Plus, he has that insane healing ability, so I don't think the weakness of the Ibari will affect him, Jiraiya speculates. Exactly. That's why I did it. The boy needs every advantage he can get if he is to become the next champion of the village, Danzo adds. Sarutobi thinks about it before he has to agree, not that he likes it. Fine. But this is your last warning, Danzo, to never do this again or I will have you spend the rest of your days in blood prison, Sarutobi threatens. Hi, Hokage-sama, Danzo replies satisfied. So the boy has the blood of Minato, the Uzumakis, the Ibari, and the Hyuga clans flowing through his veins, Sarutobi summarizes. Unless you've done something else to the boy, Dans. Oh, Jiraiya says while staring through the elder councilman. I have not, Danzo replies. Although I was tempted, he thinks, but doesn't voice. Orochimaru had been studying up on all the clans known and unknown, deceased and alive. When his laboratories were unearthed, much of the research was destroyed or compromised. Still, there were several vials containing substances of unknown source and papers detailing some of the vile things the Snake Sanin had done while still being a part of the village. What do we do, sensei? If the Hyuga find out about this, they'll never stop until Naruto is branded with that evil seal and forced to serve their clan or die, Jiraiya worries. Sarutobi and Danzo had already thought about that. There really was only one choice. Jiraiya, I hate to do it, but you have to seal it away, Hiruzen orders. What? Shouted Jiraiya, not believing what he was hearing. I understand your concerns, but unless you want him to literally become a slave, no one can know of Naruto's true heritage or bloodlines, Sarutobi explains. But, to do that to him, it could have unexpected consequences, Jiraiya warns. I understand that, but it has to be done for his sake as well as that of the village, Sarutobi says. Jiraiya reluctantly agrees, and later that night Naruto is sedated and his bloodlines sealed, including a few that they didn't know about because they hadn't revealed themselves yet. From then on Sarutobi kept a closer eye on Naruto to make sure the seal stayed intact and that it didn't compromise the other seal on his body, which thankfully it didn't. Unfortunately there was a side effect. Naruto's mind was affected by the sealing, it seems causing him to lose much of the potential he possessed and basically making him into a moron that dressed in brightly colored clothing. Thankfully, Sarutobi had managed to dissuade him from wearing a white-yellow combination that would have been suicide for a ninja. Unfortunately the color he refused to part with was orange. Still, everyone remained unaware of the boy's true potential, and thanks to Naruto's behavior no one bothered to notice that anything was off about him until nearly a decade later. "Hey Naruto!" shouted Iruka. "Ha, ha, ha, oh man. I got caught. I only learned one technique," Naruto complains. He practiced here, until he was all worn out, Iruka noticed. "Hey, I'm going to show you a great technique, so let me graduate if can do it." Naruto shouts with his usual exuberance. "If I show you a technique from this scroll, I can graduate, right?" Naruto asks expectantly. "Who said that?" Iruka asks shocked. "Mizuki-sensei," Naruto shouts. "He told me about this place and this scroll," Naruto tells the Chunin. "Mizuki did," Iruka thinks shocked. That is when Iruka sensed weapons being thrown at him and manages to push Naruto away. Unfortunately he took several kunai at several places on his body. "I'm surprised you found out about this place," calls a voice from the shadows. "I see, so that's how it is," Iruka says out loud. "Naruto, hand over the scroll," Mizuki says from above them. "Hey, what's going on here?" Naruto questions unsure. "Naruto, don't let him get the scroll no matter what," Iruka orders. "That's a dangerous scroll that has forbidden techniques. Mizuki used you so he could get a hold of it," shouts Iruka. "Naruto, Iruka is afraid of you possessing that," Mizuki states. "What?" Naruto asks confused. "What are you saying, Mizuki?" Iruka shouts at his former friend. "Don't believe him, Naruto." Iruka shouts, trying to ignore the pain he's feeling. "I'll tell you the truth," Mizuki says to Naruto as he laughs. "Don't," Iruka shouts in vain. "A rule was created after the incident that happened 12 years again," Mizuki says. "A rule?" Naruto asks, not sure why he would care. "It's a rule that only you, Naruto, cannot find out about," Mizuki continues. "Only me?" Naruto questions shocked. "What's the rule?" Naruto asks. "Stop Mizuki," Iruka shouts again. "It's a rule not to say that Naruto is a monster fox," Mizuki says with a cruel smirk. "What?" Naruto says scared. "In other words, you are the nine-tailed demon fox who killed Iruka's parents and nearly destroyed our village." Mizuki shouts. "Stop it." Iruka tries to interfere. "You've been deceived by the village people all this time. Didn't you think it was weird for everyone to hate you so much?" Mizuki asks. "Damn it," Naruto says, exuding chakra. "Damn it, damn it, damn it." Naruto shouts, losing control. "Naruto," Iruka states, shocked by the outburst. "No one is going to believe in you. Even Iruka hates you," Mizuki says with a cruel glee. Iruka could do nothing but struggle with his injuries, but it reminded him of when and why he decided to give Naruto a chance. They celled him to his office and asked him to give the boy a chance, and drew parallels to his own childhood after he lost his parents. Unfortunately these thoughts precluded Iruka for noticing Mizuki making his move against Naruto. "Die Naruto," Mizuki shouted as he spun and aimed a windmill shuriken at Naruto. Naruto did his best to avoid the weapon, but he was too unprepared and thus was stabbed in his back by the very large weapon. That's when Iruka snapped out of his memories. "No, Naruto," Iruka shouted. The Chunin did his best to move towards his injured student before he was cut off by Mizuki. "Why do you care whatever happens to that brat Iruka?" Mizuki asked. "You hate him just like I do," Mizuki states. "You're wrong Mizuki. I admit I once thought like you. I hated the Kyuubi and I blamed Naruto for its continued existence," Iruka starters. "Then why lift a finger to help the brat? Surely now's the best time to get revenge for what he did to your parents. Remember all the lame and idiotic pranks that punk did. Remember the time he glued you to your chair," Mizuki says. "You were stuck to that chair for an entire day. They had to use scissors cut your pants off of you, and that's the least of the pranks he's pulled involving you. Hell, remember that time he tricked you by giving you a tainted apple that made you miss a full week of work without pay? Mizuki says, goading his former friend. Yes, I remember. Naruto is always doing things like that, but I used to be just like him. Naruto is a good kid who's just lonely and wants attention. I won't let you kill him. Iruka shouts. You won't let me kill him. Mizuki repeats. Iruka nods his head as takes out a kunai to fight with. Don't make me laugh, you were always weak. I guess I'll just have to kill you and the Kyuubi before I leave this shithole. And go somewhere someone like me gets his just rewards, Mizuki brags. After that the two began to fight, ignoring the boy struggling to survive. Naruto meanwhile was fighting just to live. I can't die this way. Being tricked by Mizuki Tem. I want to live, I never even got Sakura-chan to go on date with me. I want to live, no, I will live, and I will become the greatest Hokage. Do you want to live? Who said that? Naruto asks. Then take my power and kill that fool that tricked you. Before Naruto could respond, asking again who said that, he felt something foreign bubbling up from his stomach. Then he felt an all-encompassing amount of pain. He couldn't see, but several seals all broke at once. Ah! Naruto shouted, alarming Iruka and Mizuki. Naruto! Iruka shouted. The loyal Chunin rushed to the boy's side. But as soon as tried to touch him, his fingers felt like they were trying to touch the sun, as Naruto's body was actually smoking from the heat it was putting off. Naruto! Iruka shouted once again. Ha! I told you he was a demon, look at him, he's going to kill all of us as he reveals his true nature. Mizuki shouted fearfully. He never intended for this to happen. Mizuki wasn't a complete idiot, he was jealous, envious, traitorous, and a habitual liar, but he wasn't stupid. He knew enough about sealing to know that Naruto wasn't the actual Kyuubi. However, when Naruto had been a kid, the village was constantly in an uproar about the kid, which resulted in several beating, maiming, and one near-death incident. Some influential people came to him when he was in trouble over the death of a teammate and propositioned him into dealing with the kid once and for all. Mizuki never really got a good opportunity to fulfill that contract, that is until he was offered a position at the academy teaching with Iruka. When he realized the Kyuubi brat was in his class, he was finally in a position to do what was asked of him. Mizuki made sure Iruka focused on the other kids, which wasn't too difficult initially, since like all the other teachers in the academy, Iruka also hated the kid. This allowed Mizuki to punish and reprimand the kid as he saw fit, use brutal taijutsu moves in sparring with the kid while stunting his own development, and made sure the kid was at the bottom of his class. Of course then the Sandaime interfered and he had to be more subtle with what he was doing. Iruka suddenly did a 180 and treated the brat fairly, actually more than fair with it. Thankfully to Mizuki, the prior abuse had done its job and it was too late to change the kid's ways or status. Of course Mizuki had no way of knowing everything he did was in vain due to the seal that was placed on Naruto beforehand. What have you done, Mizuki? Iruka screamed at his former best friend. Mizuki never answered, because Naruto let out a blood-curdling scream. Aye! Naruto shouted. Suddenly an overwhelming pressure enveloped the entire village and finally forced the Hokage to forego his vigil and race along with half the Anbu force plus those had sent out looking for Naruto earlier to rush to the scene. When the old man arrived on the scene, the pressure had abated and Naruto was starting to stand. The Hokage and everyone in the clearing watched as the boy stood with his head lowered. Naruto! Iruka shouted as he once again rushed to the boy's side. But before anyone had a chance to get to him, Naruto's head lifted, showing blood-red pupils with an inverted slit and 5 tails sprouted out of from behind the boy. He then disappeared from sight only to appear behind Mizuki. Blood splattered across Naruto, the tree and the ground below him. Damn, was all Mizuki could get out as his head was ripped from his shoulders and fell with a thud to the ground, along with the body following shortly after. Naruto, Sarutobi mutters, witnessing the alarming sight. The Anbu guarding the Hokage surrounded him, fearful of what Naruto was going to do next, but to their surprise the evil chakra and the tails receded and Naruto jumped down from the tree branch without as much as a wince from the landing. That's when Naruto screamed in pain again, crumbling to his knees as Both the Hokage and Iruka rushed to his side. Naruto, are you okay? Iruka asks. Yeah, it's just, Naruto responds. What is it, Naruto-kun? Iruka asks. Naruto lifted his head. His eyes were still blue, but the pupil was blue surrounded by a blue and white iris in a flower-like pattern. Of course Iruka and those that could see his eyes were shocked, even the Hokages whose head was drooped until he noticed those weren't the eyes he was expecting to see. What's wrong? Naruto asks, seeing the way everyone was looking at him. Naruto, what can you see? Sarutobi asks. I can see, wow, I can see really far. I can also see the book hidden in your robes, and your chakra, actually everyone's chakra and chakra natures, Naruto finishes. What do you mean you can see their chakra natures? Hiruzen asks. I can see the flow of their chakra and the different colors that are represented in it, Naruto clarifies after a bit of thought. Hiruzen nodded. That was a function of the Byakugan, although for a kid that had no training and had just awakened his eyes, it was still surprising. Naruto, can you try to limit the amount of chakra you are using? Asks Hiruzen, still not ready to tell him. I can try, but you know chakra control was never something I was good at, Naruto says with a small smile. Hiruzen nodded and watched as Naruto's eyes seemed to glow for a moment before they turned into the regular Byakugan, although he could still see flecks of blue in the iris. That's good enough, Naruto-kun, Hiruzen says, knowing the boy did his best. I guess I couldn't keep this a secret forever. I hope you will forgive me, Hiruzen thinks. Naruto nodded and began to stand up, though a bit unsteady. Come with me, Naruto. There are some things I have to tell you, Sarutobi tells him. Wait, Hokage-sama, may I be allowed stay with Naruto? Iruka asks. The man was still shocked by the odd-looking dujutsu and then that Naruto had the Byakugan. He was sure that when another of his students saw it she would faint in surprise. I'm sorry, Iruka, but this meeting is private. I'm sure if you ask Naruto-kun, tomorrow he may least what he's allowed to disclose, the Hokage states. Iruka nods, knowing there was no reason for the Hokage to agree to his request. Naruto briefly smiled at the man before allowing the Hokage to shunshun them to his office, with his guard also leaving to follow. In the Hokage's office with Naruto and the old man, they sat alone until a knock was heard. Come in, the Hokage says. In walks a seemingly frail old man using a cane to guide him. He had shaggy black hair and bandages covering the right side of his face. He wore a white shirt that was exposed on his left side while the rest was covered by a black robe. Naruto watched as the man walked until he stood beside the old man. You may as well come out too, Jiraiya, Hiruzen calls. From behind him Naruto was able to see a man materialize seemingly from thin air. He was a tall man around 6'2" or 6'3" large, but seemingly fit or muscular. He had waist-length spiky hair. Naruto also noticed the odd forehead protector with the kanji for oil. The man stepped around Naruto until he stood on the other side of the Hokage and gave Naruto a warm smile. Now, Naruto, you may be wondering why you are here and why these men beside me are here as well, Hiruzen starts. Naruto nodded, although he felt like the tall guy was someone he had seen or met before. The truth is, when you were born, the Yondaime Hokage sealed the Kyuubi inside of you to protect the village. Trust me, he didn't want to do it, but you were the only one he could use to house it, Hiruzen tells him. But why me and what's wrong with my eyes? Naruto asks. Here Hiruzen wanted to smile and cheer. The old Naruto or the sealed Naruto would have been screaming so loud everyone in the village would have heard him. Not to mention he seemed to be waiting for an explanation instead of acting out and doing something stupid. Well, the truth is, because of your mother, Hiruzen states, shocking Naruto and the two men beside him. Hiruzen, I thought you weren't going to tell him about them, Danzo says. Are you sure about this, sensei? Jiraiya questions. He needs to know at least about her, Hiruzen says as begins to continue. You see, your mother was the previous holder of the Kyuubi before you, but the day of your birth she was attacked and the Kyuubi escaped, Hiruzen tells him. Who was she? Naruto asks, interrupting him. Your mother was a beautiful woman who originated from a neighboring village called Uzushiogakure. She was one of my most skilled warriors and one of the most feared thanks to her skill in sealing and ninjutsu. She could also be really terrifying if you got on her bad side, Hiruzen tells him. Jiraiya shudders at the last part. He never did forgive him for that one time. What was her name? Naruto asks. Her name was Uzumaki, Kushina. She came from the Uzumaki clan, Hiruzen informs him. Do you have a picture of her? Naruto asks quietly. I do, Hiruzen says. Rummaging through his desk he finds 2 pictures, but puts one back and reseals the drawer. Here you go. Hiruzen hands Naruto a framed picture of his mother. Naruto just smiles, finally having a picture of his mother, and begins drawing similarities between them. He loved her beautiful long red hair and eyes. Now about your eyes, Hiruzen starts drawing Naruto's attention once more. You see, when you were born your parents were killed in the Kyuubi attack, as you know, but now that you know that your mother was the previous holder of Jinchuriki, I can tell you that someone attacked the area where you were born and ripped the beast from her, forcing the Yondaime to use you, Hiruzen starts. Who was it? Naruto asks. The 3 adults looked at each other. I'm sorry Naruto-kun, but we don't know. Everyone from that night died and whomever it was got away before the Yondaime could defeat them, Hiruzen answers. It wasn't a lie, they really didn't know who it was. Minato left a few clues. But most felt it was too ridiculous to believe. Of course that didn't stop a certain someone from once again overstepping their boundaries and using that knowledge for their benefit. So, what does that have to do with my eyes? Naruto asks. At this point he wanted to get out there. He already had enough to digest, not to mention he felt weird, like something inside of him was changing or something's. Plus, he really felt drained. Well, you see, after everything was resolved I made a mistake and told everyone about you, and it was a bad time for the village. I was flooded with things to do and there was another attack. You were taken somewhere I thought was safe, but when I was able to get free and visit you your eyes had changed. You somehow gained the bloodline of the Hyuga clan. You have a young girl in your class from that clan and I'm sure you know of the clan, Hiruzen says. But I'm not a Hyuga, am I? Naruto asks. Honestly, your father himself was born during the Second World War, Naruto-kun. His ancestry is a bit of mystery even to me, Hiruzen says. So, I'm not sure, but no, I don't think you are a Hyuga, Hiruzen answers. Naruto nods at that, glad that he wasn't. He had once been tortured by a group of them using him to practice something they called juken. Anyway, they were all a bunch of stuck-up prick and snobs in his opinion. Well, there was that one girl that seemed nice. But whenever he tried to speak to her she ran away like he carried the plague or something. But, that is why when you were a child and I saw you had their eyes. I had Jiraiya, the tall goofy looking one beside me. Hey. Seal your bloodlines, Hiruzen confesses. Why? Naruto shouts. I'm sorry Naruto, but you have to understand. If the Hyuga saw that you had Ho's eyes at that time they may have killed you or put an even worse seal on you that would have enslaved you to them, and I could not let that happen, Hiruzen explains. Naruto just sat there silent for several minutes as he thought about that. He knew what the Hokage was saying was true from previous experience, but that left him with a big problem. But I don't want it sealed again. It stings, but it's really cool. I can see things in a way I never have before, and I just feel powerful, Naruto admits. We won't seal you away again, Naruto-kun. One of the results of the first sealing was part of the reason you, He was dumber than a box of rocks, Jiraiya says, cutting the old man off. Hey, Naruto shouts. Sorry kid, but it's true. I felt responsible for what became of you since I did the sealing. Which is why I endorsed you and helped the Hokage pay for your expenses, Jiraiya tells him. Jiraiya expected some kind of explosion, but instead the kid just looked away and seemed in a word defeated. What about the Hyuga? They won't like it any more now than they would have then, Naruto responds. At this Hiruzen smiles. You're right, but they won't have a choice, Hiruzen says. What? Naruto asks confused. Well, after seeing how you dealt with Mizuki, who was a chunin, I feel it would be irresponsible of me if I didn't at least promote you. From academy student to genin candidate, Hiruzen says with a smile. 3 men watched as Naruto's head snapped up so fast they swore they heard something crack. Really Gigi? Naruto questions. The old man nodded, glad he could give a bit of good news. But he was shocked when instead of screaming and jumping around, Naruto just sat in his seat and smiled. "What's next?" Naruto asks. "Unfortunately, I'll have to convene a council meeting and inform everyone about what happened and about your bloodlines," Hiruzen informs him. Naruto nods, expecting that. "Could we do that tomorrow?" Naruto asks. "Of course, but you'll have to come to my office tomorrow after you meet your team and sensei," Hiruzen tells. Naruto nods. "Then you can go home and get some rest. Remember, you have to be at the academy bright and early at 6:30 a.m. Oh, set the alarm, I got you, and don't forget," Hiruzen says. Naruto nods and then stands up and bows before leaving the room. "He took that well," Jiraiya says. "I believe he hasn't had a chance to fully comprehend what Hiruzen told him," Danzo says. "Probably right. I just hope when he doesn't react badly." "What will you do about Hiashi and the council?" Jiraiya asks. "I'll deal with Hiashi in the morning, and the council will have no say in the matter," Hiruzen says strongly. "Don't underestimate them, Hiruzen," Danzo warns. He nods to his old friend and watches as the man leaves the room. "How can you still trust him, sensei?" Jiraiya asks. "I don't, but keeping him involved was the better option. He's already interfered once. This way we can keep better tabs on him and make sure he stays away from Naruto," Hiruzen explains. Jiraiya nods, hoping his sensei was right, and decided it was time for him to leave as well. All alone, Hiruzen unseals the drawer that contained the photo and Remo vase, the one he didn't give Naruto, now noticing Naruto didn't return the one of just his mother. "Please, watch over us all, Minato, Kushina," he says. Resealing the drawer, he cuts off the lights and heads home for the night. Hopefully Konohamaru is still asleep and won't challenge him again. Naruto entered the academy and went down the same path he used for the better part of 6 years. He hated this place. The teachers either ignored him or bullied him, and with the example set, the students followed suit to varying degrees. Worst of all was that the teachers sabotaged his learning, although now he knew all they did wouldn't have changed a thing. The ceiling limited whatever potential and ability he did have to just about nothing. In the end, all they did was make an already bad situation worse. However, they couldn't sabotage everyone, and he wasn't kicked out of all of the classes all of the time. Going through the hall, he was able to recall parts of lectures that the sealed him either dismissed or slept through. Remembering made him realize the academy was a joke. Sealed or not, most of what they learned was the same regurgitated crap he learned the year before, which was actually 2 years for him, since he repeated the class after failing the graduate exam for the second time. The first time he attempted to graduate was so he could leave the academy early and had to show he was qualified to do so. The problem was he was only in his first year, having gotten tired of the way the teachers treated him and stupidly thought he was good enough to graduate early, like he had heard a few older students talk about someone whose name he couldn't remember. He then went to the Hokage, whom verified the story and told him about others before him as well. So of course he said he could do it too. Oh, and the Hokage humored him, allowing him to join the class for the final examination. Of course that ended in failure, spectacularly so. It was then he became known as the class Dobi after word of High's performance was disseminated throughout the school. When he failed again, it only made it worse. And now that he thought about it, he knew what his biggest issue was, and that was chakra control. He remembered the times he would complain to the Hokage about the academy and not being able to do the stupid Bunshin jutsu no matter how hard he tried. The old man tried to help by giving a few subtle hints, but that went over his head. Naruto knew that chakra control was something he would have to fix as soon as possible. The problem was how, but he was scheduled to meet with the Hokage, so maybe he would help him once more. Entering the classroom, Naruto noticed that several students were already there, and by the looks they were giving him, he knew they thought he didn't belong. Ignoring them, Naruto looked around the room. Normally he would sit somewhere near the middle, but if he did that, the Uchiha would go there, and he really didn't want to deal with his fan club. That left the option of the back of the room or the front. Most people chose to sit between 2 to 3 rows from the front and 2 to 3 rows from the back. Not wanting to sit in the very back, Naruto chose to sit in the front by the teacher's desk, as there would be fewer complaints if he sat there. He watched as his classmates slowly filed into the room. He noticed they all briefly glanced his way as if to question who he was or why he was there. Earlier this morning when he woke up and looked at the mirror in his bathroom, Naruto noticed a few things had changed about him. The first thing was his eyes had somewhat returned to normal. The pupil was back to normal. But his blue eyes now looked a little faded, no, diluted was a better way of explaining it. And his spiky, messy, blonde hair was now easier to manage and hung down close to his shoulders. His hair also had some dark to light blue strands that resembled streaks. The biggest change aside from his eyes was that he also seemed to have hit a growth spurt overnight. He went from a shrimpy 4 feet 7 inches, making him easily the shortest in his graduating class, to a comfortable 4 feet 9.5 inches, placing above average in regards to the rest of his class, with Aburame Shino being the tallest at close to 5 feet 1. Naruto hated being shorter than everyone else, so the increase in height was very welcomed. It also helped that he originally weighed 88 pounds, which was, believe it or not, was big for his height. Now that he was a couple of inches taller, he looked good if he took off his clothes. Well, he always looked good, now he looked even better in his opinion. As he was thinking, a small dark blue-haired girl walked into the classroom, a little despondent, believing the boy she admired wouldn't be there. She walked quietly to her seat, not noticing that the boy was in fact there. Several more students walked in before Sasuke walked in. He looked up at his fellow graduates, scoffing internally as he made his way to his usual seat. As he climbed the steps to his usual seat, he noticed someone odd. But instead of saying something, he just sat down, but questioned who that was. Unfortunately, not everyone took his example. "Hey new kid, you're in the wrong class. This class is for graduates," Kiba says. "I assure you, Inuzuka-san, that I am a graduate," Naruto responds. "I've never seen you before," Kiba responds. "I skipped a few classes." Now everyone, save Hinata, who wasn't paying attention, turned their attention to the new kid. "Prove it," Kiba yells. "Prove what?" Naruto asks. "That you are a graduate and belong here," Kiba responds. "If I wasn't a graduate, would I have one of these?" Naruto's hair had grown long enough that his bangs covered his forehead, so he used his hands to part his hair, showing the headband with the village symbol in the middle. Naruto had opted for a dark blue, which matched a couple of strands of blue hair that framed his face. Seeing the headband confused some, not sure who this kid was, but one had a guess. "I'm guessing you stole that from some unsuspecting genin or chunin," Naruto calls Shikamaru. Naruto just looked at the lazy genius whom his dumber self considered a friend, but statements like that told him different. While Naruto was processing how he felt about Shikamaru and others around him, the rest of the class took a closer look at the boy and realized it was Naruto. "What are you doing here, loser? This class is for graduates." Kiba shouts. "Yeah, we all saw you fail, just like always." Some random kid interjected. "Stop trying to look cool, dope, you'll always be a loser," Sasuke chimed in. "Yeah, you tell him, Sasuke-kun. And I don't care what you look like, you'll never be as good as Sasuke-kun. I'll never go on a date with you," yelled the newly arrived Sakura. Meanwhile, a certain brunette, having heard the name of the person she admires, looked up and immediately blushed. But then she noticed something besides his hair was different. "What happened to your eyes, Naruto-kun?" thought the shy girl. Fortunately for Naruto, whom hadn't responded, Iruka chose that moment to enter the room. "Shut up," Iruka yells. "I could hear you all the way down the hall, now get to your seats and be quiet as I call the roll," Iruka attempts. "But Iruka-sensei, what is Naruto doing here? He failed, right?" Shikamaru asks. Iruka looked at Shikamaru and the rest of the class handed to him early this morning. About what he should and should not say. Of course, looking over at Naruto, he was surprised by the already visible changes and wondered what caused them. "You were correct, Shikamaru, Naruto did fail. However, the Hokage has decided that due to some extenuating circumstances, Naruto actually deserved to pass, and thus with approval of the Hokage as a graduating member of this class," Iruka says. "But, Iruka-sensei, a few kids try to get out. There is no more discussion about this. Naruto is your fellow genin and there is nothing more to discuss. Let's focus instead on this being your last day," Iruka says, redirecting things. Naruto was grateful that the issue was being closed, but he knew it wouldn't be fully by some as most of his classmates still didn't believe he belonged. In the Hokage's office another discussion was being held. Hokage-same, did something happen with Naruto last night? Kakashi questioned. Yes, as you probably felt last night Naruto released a portion of its chakra during a fight he had with former Chunin and Academy assistant Mizuki. He almost died during that fight before Iruka was able to intervene, which was when he used some of the beast's power, he tells him and the others in the room. Yes, but he looks taller and his hair and eyes are different than when I last observed him, Kakashi adds. Yes, I was getting to that. Years ago there was an inside NT involving Naruto that I'm sure some of you remember, Hiruzen starts as. Several in the room nod, including Kakashi. Well, what no one knew was that Naruto unlocked a hidden bloodline. What? Everyone shouted. I ordered his bloodline sealed so that no one would know and so that Naruto-kun could grow up as an ordinary child, the Hokage continues. What bloodline was it? Kakashi asks. The Hokage pauses before deciding it would do no good to keep secrets now. Naruto, it seems, unlocked the Byakugan somehow, Hiruzen reveals. What? How is that possible? Kakashi says. Are you sure, Hokage-sama? The Byakugan is hereditary and is active when the child is born. Are you sure it is the Byakugan? Kurenai interjects. Actually last night it was revealed he has the Byakugan and an even stronger, extremely rare dojutsu, Hiruzen says. Don't tell me he has somehow also manifested the Sharingan, Kakashi questions. No, what I'm about to tell you does not leave this office. Naruto somehow awoke the Tenseigan. What is this Tenseigan and what does it do? Asks Asuma. Not much is really known about it, at least I don't know much about it. I do know that the Otsutsuki clan, which members became the Uchiha, the Hyuga, the Uzumaki, and the Kagaya clans, each clan possessing a unique bloodline trait. The Uchiha the Sharingan, the Hyuga the Byakugan, some members of the Uzukaki held the legendary Rinnegan in the past before their demise, and the Kagaya held the Dead Bone Pulse or Shikatsumyaku. It's unknown what happened, but the part of the Otsutsuki that held the Tenseigan died off. Although, it's rumored those that held the Byakugan killed them because part of the process of awakening the Tenseigan was capturing and taking the eyes of the Hyuga ancestors, Hiruzen says. What? Kurenai shouts. Did the demon kill a Hyuga to get those eyes? Shouts a random Jonin. Hiruzen, Kakashi, Asuma, and some others glared at the ignorant man. Naruto is not a demon and no, he didn't kill anyone. We don't know how he has the Byakugan. But he had it a long time ago when he was a child and capable of killing someone for their eyes, idiot. Hiruzen yells at the man. Hi, Hokage-sama, please forgive my rudeness, the man says and tries to hide. Is it possible the ceiling caused this? Asuma asks. Quote. Hokage-sama, someone asks. I don't know, it's possible. He did have the Byakugan before the ceiling. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Kakashi, it's because of these revelations that instead of putting Naruto on your team I'm swapping Shino with Naruto and placing him on team 8 inches, Hiruzen reveals. What? Hokage-sama, is that safe for Hinata? Kurenai asks. He already has the eyes, Kurenai, he responds. But Hokage-sama, you know I wanted Naruto. And no offense to Shino, but Naruto already has an established relationship with the team I picked. To disrupt that because he's gained a dojutsu would be detrimental to both squads, Kakashi argues. I know the real reason you question this, Kakashi, and I'm sorry. But you can't help Naruto with the Tenseigan or the Byakugan, but Hinata can. And with Naruto on her team, Hinata might just come out of her shell and become the heiress the Hyuga clan has been trying to make her, Hiruzen argues back. But why Shino? With Kiba I could help him develop his tracking and my Ninken can help Akamaru as well, Kakashi argues. Hiruzen thought on it for a moment before agreeing to it since he had taken Naruto off the squad, and Kakashi did have a point. With that he immediately alerted an Anbu after scribbling together a note. Before the shinobi left to deliver it, the Jonin soon also departed, though several stayed to watch with the Hokage. Team 7 will be Sakura Haruno, Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka began. Sakura instantly had her head held down, not wanting To be on the same team as the village idiot while Naruto was oddly silent to those who were watching. And Sasuke Uchiha, Iruka finished. Yay! Cheered Sakura to the annoyance of everyone including Iruka. Ignoring the adolescent cheering, the man continued. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Hiba Inuzuka, and Shino. Iruka started before he was interrupted as the messenger entered the room and handed Iruka the message. Actually, there has been an alteration, Iruka announces. Sakura's head instantly shot up, hoping against hope the gods listened to her and anyone but Naruto was on her team with Sasuke. Team 7 will be Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha, and Kiba Inuzuka, Iruka announces. Yay, I don't have to be stuck with Naruto Baka. Sakura cheered. See, I told you the dead last didn't graduate. Kiba barks loudly. Team 8 will be Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Naruto Uzumaki, Iruka corrects, ignoring what was said. This time another person was elated with the changes. This is my chan. See to get Naruto-kun to notice me, thought Hinata. Naruto looked behind him at the two whom would be his teammates. He briefly locked eyes with Shino, whom gave him an almost imperceptible nod, and Hinata, whom shyly looked away with a blush, making him frown slightly, but thought this team was better than Team 7. Arg, how did you get into Sasuke-kun's group? Ino groused as Sakura gave her a peace sign. Normally Shikamaru would have said something to annoy Ino, but he was thinking about something else. Naruto was way too quiet about not being with Sakura. How did he manage to graduate anyway, and what's up with his eyes? He thought. He wasn't the only one, as Sasuke and Shino also noted the changes, even though Sasuke didn't care, as at least now the idiot wouldn't drag him down, not that he thought Kiba was much better. Soon the rest of the teams were sorted and the individual teams filed out together. They were all given a lunch break and told to return to the classroom in an hour to meet their senseis. Naruto stood up to leave when someone called for him. Yes, Iruka-sensei, Naruto responds. Hey, we never got to talk last night. Are you okay? Iruka asks. I'm fine, sensei, are you alright? I know you were friends, Naruto responds. A flash of pain registered in the monk's eyes, but looking around he noticed that some of the students hadn't moved and were looking at them. I'm fine, maybe we can talk about it later. I'll treat you to some ramen, he offers. Sounds good, see you later, sensei, Naruto responds. He bows to Iruka before moving to leave, but he doesn't get far. Hey, Naruto, come hang out with us, Shika offers lazily. No thanks, I think I should get to know my team a little better, Naruto responds. Shikamaru shrugs on the outside, downplaying, but internally that just made him more curious about the changes in Naruto. When was Naruto so respectful, and was that little Anapli? Since when does Naruto take things personally? He questioned. Naruto walked up the stairs towards his new teammates. Would you like to go somewhere so we can eat and get to know one another? Naruto asks. If it isn't ramen, Shino says as he stands up and moves towards the exit. I'm okay with that, Naruto answers. Even Shino paused as he turned towards Naruto as if questioning the statement. Look, ramen is cheap. I live on my own and I do not have the money to eat much else. Though ramen is tasty and fills you up, so it's the perfect meal for someone on a budget. But I do like other things, Naruto says. Nodding at the logic, Shino slowly walks towards the exit, allowing his teammates to catch up. Seeing that Shino agreed, Naruto turned towards Hinata. How about you, Hyuga-san, would you like to eat with us? Naruto asks. Hinata manages to get out. Naruto nods and walks to catch up to Shino. Hinata stands up, moves to catch up to her teammates. The others in the room, still slightly shocked Naruto would actually eat something other than ramen shake it off and make their own plans. At first Shino thought they should eat at the academy. Problem with that was that Naruto didn't have a bento made, so instead Naruto said they should go where Hinata wanted to go. Feeling the eyes of her teammates on her, she chose the first place that came to mind, Amaguriyama, the one on T Street. It didn't take long for the trio to arrive at the sweets shop and place their order. Naruto ordered one bento and an apple cinnamon mochi. Shino ordered a winter melon to go along with the food he brought from home, and Hinata got a cinnamon roll to go along with the bento she made. As they waited, all three stood in silence before their orders were ready, and they went over to a table where they sat in silence as they ate. As they did, Naruto was thinking about how to get to KN. How them better since he didn't remember ever talking to either of them. What do you guys like to do? Naruto asks. I collect and study bugs, Shino answers. Naruto just nodded, not really wanting to know what Shino did with the bugs. Sealed intelligence or not, he still found bugs to be creepy and gross, although now he could remember what the Aburame used them for, somewhat, so he was more willing to look beyond the creepiness of his new teammate. What about you, Hinata? Naruto asks, not wanting to talk about bugs. I like to press flowers, she manages to get out. I have a little garden myself. It's not big because I live in an apartment, but when I get a house I plan to have a big garden. What type of flowers do you like? Naruto responds. Like sunflowers, she answers. Sunflowers are cool, I like eating sunflower seeds, Naruto says. Hinata nods, not sure what to say, and Shino stays silent. Do you like lilies? Naruto asks. Hinata nodded. Then she decided to be a little brave. Maybe, I can show you the GG gardens at my home, she manages to get out. Naruto studied the shy girl for a moment before nodding. That would be great. Just let me know. N is a good time, and maybe Shino here would be interested in coming too, Naruto says. They both look over at Shino to see an almost imperceptible nod. In his head though, Shino was surprised Naruto would include him. He knew how much the shy Hinata liked Naruto and that asking him over was a big deal for her. However, he thought it would also be easier for the girl if it was more of a group thing. Of course he couldn't know that Hinata was internally both grateful to Naruto for suggesting Shino also be there, because truthfully she had forgotten about him and mad that he said yes. I wanted to be alone with Naruto-kun, she thought. She got over quickly as she thought about what would happen if they were alone. She pictured Naruto coming over a nice silk kimono and greeting her father early, gaining his approval, and they would begin with the flowers. Then she would lead him over to a nearby bench where she would have a carefully prepared lunch made them, and they drink tea and get to know each other better, and then he'd give her a gentle kiss before leaving, where they made plans for a date the next weekend. Meanwhile, outside of Hinata's head, Shino was studying Naruto. Something happened and Shino was curious. Looking directly at Naruto, he waited until Naruto was looking at him, which didn't take long. What happened last night? Shino asks in his typical monotone fashion. What makes you think something happened? Naruto responds. You did not engage Uchiha-san, and because you did not obsess over Haruno-san, and because you are actually talking to us, Shino explains. I've talked to you before, haven't I? Naruto questions, though more to himself. Shino simply shook his head. Well, you're my teammates now, so I thought we should get to know each other, Naruto tries. But Shino wasn't buying it. I understand if it is a secret, Shino says to defuse the situation and also subtlety to get Naruto to trust him and tell them. Naruto sat quietly for a moment as even Hinata watched him, curious about what was going on. Naruto looked at his two teammates, but specifically Hinata, whom edged back a little in her seat at having her crush focus seemingly entirely on her. You Hyuga-san will probably hear about this later tonight. I'm sure you both noticed my eyes look a little different, Naruto starts. Shino nodded while Hinata stared at him a bit before noticing. Gee, there was a difference, and it seemed similar for some reason. After I failed the exam, I was approached by Mizuki, who talked me into doing something for him that he told me would make me a genin like the rest of you, Naruto tells them. Here he paused a bit, trying to find the right words without spilling too much. The Hokage may favor him somewhat, but he was ordered to not speak abo. What happened, and he had the feeling if he told even his teammates he would get in more trouble than he would have been in had he stole the scroll and Mizuki had gotten away without killing him. Both his teammates, due to their upbringing, noticed the pause and both figured what Shino said had been true. Question was, why was it a secret? It was a trap, and when I was distracted he hit me one of those giant shurikens, and I felt like I almost died, Naruto continues. Hinata gasped at that. Mizuki had tried to kill Naruto. Thinking of her interactions with the man, she didn't believe he was a bad guy, but there was something about him that seemed false. She couldn't know it, but Shino had a similar observation of their former sensei. Shino had also noticed that Mizuki seemed to dislike Naruto and was giving him bad information, but Shino had decided it wasn't his place to say anything if Naruto didn't notice or no one was stopping him. I cannot talk about what happened after that too much. But when I was dying, this power come over me. The result was this. Naruto channeled chakra to his eyes and the faded color of his eyes left, but Hinata and Shino took note of the blue pill, and while Hinata also noticed the flower-like design around the pupil like a carnation. Shino also noted that Naruto winced before his eyes changed. So pretty, Hinata says before blushing and looking away. You have Ado jutsu, Shino says. Naruto just nodded. Did you always have one? Shino questions. Not always, but the Hokage said he noticed I did have one when I was young, Naruto answers. Then why have you not shown it before? Shino asks. I didn't know I had one, Naruto answers truthfully. How is that possible? Hinata asks. She was glad Shino questioned Naruto and took the spotlight off of her comment. But now that she was looking more closely, those eyes reminded her of something she read about in her clan archives. Likewise, Shino was also curious about how Naruto could not know, but it made sense to him. The Naruto he knew would have told everyone about having Ado jutsu to make himself seem more important. To protect me, the Hokage had it sealed so no one would find out, Naruto says. Why? Both of his new teammating them, Naruto tried to deactivate the Tenseigin by minimizing his chakra output. I really need to work on that, he thought. Luckily he was successful as his eyes became opaque with only a faint blue outline of the pupil and blue flecks around the iris. The Byakugan, Hinata exclaims. Shino just sat silently as he digests his lunch and what he's learned. How? Hinata asks. I don't know. The Hokage said it might have come from my father, Naruto responds. Your father? Hinata questions. Naruto nods. Was your father a member of the Hyuga clan? Shino asks. He didn't think so, but the Hokage wasn't sure, Naruto answers. Maybe it was your mother? Hinata asks. Naruto shook his head. No, she is the reason I have the last name Uzumaki. She was a part of that clan, Naruto tells them. The Uzumaki are a clan? Shino asks. Naruto nods. So you are from a clan, Shino says. Several, I think, Naruto responds. All three think about it before Naruto looks up. I think it's time for us to get back to the academy, Naruto says. Shino and Hinata nod as all three packed up their lunches, which was mostly half-eaten. Naruto also closed his eyes and then opened them, showing they had gone back to the slightly faded color. They walked in silence as they made their way back to the academy. Along the way though, Hinata couldn't stop sneaking glances at Naruto. Maybe this is my chance, she thought. She always liked Naruto, but she feared what her clan would think. She didn't like it, but it was rare for outsides to be permitted to marry into the clan. Which meant marrying a cousin, and she didn't want to do that, but now that Naruto has the Byakugan, even if he is not a Hyuga, she had hope. As the three members of Team 8 made their way into the academy and their class, Naruto noted people looking at him differently than before. Deciding to not think about it, he noticed his seat was now taken and that everyone had grouped together with their teammates, so the new Team 8 decided to do the same. It didn't take long for the first of the senseis to come into the room. Teams 1 and Team 4 senseis came at the same time, taking them away. The next to enter was Team 6, a sensei whom also took his team away. Team 8 didn't have to wait long as Asuma Sarutobi and Kurenai Yuhi came into the room. Team 8 inches, Kurenai calls. Team 10 with me, Asuma calls. Both teams made their way towards the two Jonin sensei who looked at their charges. Kurenai frowned a bit at seeing Naruto and Shino, though she mildly noted both looked her in the eye instead of elsewhere, but gave a warm smile to Hinata. Asuma on the other hand gave his group a look over and then turned. Team 10 follow me, he says, walking out the door. Seeing her fellow Jonin Lee, Kurenai also did the same, forcing her new team to follow her, although at a much quicker pace. She actually took them to the cafeteria where she had them take seats in the empty room. Alright, why don't we start with introducing ourselves? I will start. My name is Yuhi, Kurenai. My specialty is in genjutsu, but I am proficient in taijutsu, ninjutsu, and fuinjutsu. My goal with Team 8 is to help you become great ninja. Alright, let's start with you, Kurenai says, point to Shino. My name is Aburame, Shino. I am capable in my clan's techniques and taijutsu. My goal is to fight strong opponents, Shino says in his usual tone. That was good, Shino. How about you go next, Hinata, Kurenai says. My name is Hyuga, Hinata. I use my clan's taijutsu. My goal is to be a strong kunoichi, Hinata manages to say. Very good, Hinata, Kurenai says while motioning to Naruto. My name is Uzumaki, Naruto. I guess I'm good in ninjutsu. My goal is to become a strong shinobi, Naruto says. Taking a few moments, Kurenai looks over her team. Alright team, very good introductions. I want each of you to think about what kind of ninja you want to be in the future and what skills you want to work on. First though, we have a test, Kurenai informs them. The three prospective genin instantly look at her. A test, Yuhi-sensei? Naruto asks. You may have graduated from the academy, but that doesn't make you ninja. All of you will be tested by your senseis before you become genin, Kurenai informs them. All three looked at her in shock. My test is simple, she says, getting them to focus. Find me, before they could ask what she meant, Kurenai was gone. Where did she go? Naruto asks out of habit. Hinata, can you see her? Shino asks. Byakugan, Hinata says as she searches for their sensei. Shish Sensei is in Training Groundthird training ground, Hinata tells them. Tenseigan, Naruto thinks. He quickly found Kurenai standing next to a stone shaped like a kunai. We should get moving. Something tells me we're being timed, Naruto says. Shino nods while Hinata does so hesitantly, but they all run towards the training grounds and Kurenai. It took them almost 4 minutes to react. The third training ground, where Kurenai smiled at all of them, especially Hinata. Alright, good job all of you, Kurenai says. That's when she noted Naruto's eyes. Pretty, she absently thought. It was one thing hearing that Naruto had gained a dojutsu and another to see it. One thing was certain, she wanted to see what his eyes did. That was one thing Hiruzen left out, as he only had a basic idea of what Naruto's new dojutsu could do, and she didn't think treating it like it was just a supped up Byakugan would be smart. Now that you are here, it's time for your real test, she says, shocking them. This time you will have to find 5 items that I have placed in the training grounds, and you have 1 hour to do so, Kurenai tells them. They all look at her and nod. What are you waiting for? The hour starts now, Kurenai says. All three shoot into the bushes, rushing to find the items, but to Kurenai's disappointment they all split up instead of searching as a team. Naruto, being fastest and thanks to his Tenseigan, easily found 2 of the items. Hinata with her Byakugan found 1, and Shino was also able to find 1 with the help of his insects. That just left 1 final item which even Naruto couldn't find. They all met back up near the tree line. Aburame-san, Hyuga-san were able to find any of the items? Naruto asks. Shino went first, not seeing the logic in hiding TNGS from his teammates, and Hinata still struggled to talk around Naruto. I found a pack of marked food rations, Shino reveals. I found a guide on camping and a survival kit, Naruto tells them. FFFOUNDATTTRAPMM mocking kit, Hinata manages to get out barely. You know, Hyuga-san, if we are going to make an effective team, you have to be able to relax around us. No one here is going to hurt you, Naruto says, thinking that was why she was stuttering and refused to look him in the eyes. Shino nods, agreeing with Naruto, but knowing he was wrong as to his stated reasoning. However, he knew it would further harm his relationship with his teammates and possibly hurt the potential of the team if revealed the true reason. Hi, Hinata says, meekly embarrassed and ashamed. Now, I found a guide and survival kit. Shino found rations and Hinata found a trap making it, so what is the final item and where is it? Naruto muses out loud. Naruto, could you try using your Tenseigan to SC and the whole training ground and look for anything suspicious or something that shouldn't be there? Shino directs. Naruto nods and scans the grounds. That's when he noticed it. Up in a tree there was a hawk. But it wasn't like the hawks he had seen flying around the village delivering messages. This one was different, with black feathers on its body, but red wings and tail feathers. Then there were the eyes. Blood red and seemingly focused on them. In the bird's beak, a scroll. Found it. Half a click away there is a black and red hawk with a scroll in its mouth, Naruto tells them. Black and red hawk? Shino questions. Naruto just nods. That is indeed unusual, but I didn't see a hawk earlier and my bugs didn't alert me to any foreign presence. Could it be Kurenai-sensei in a genju? Can you take us there? Shino asks. Naruto nods and soon Team 8 is on the move. As they get closer and the rest of the team notes the unusual creature, Hinata and Shino began to suspect the hawk wasn't real. As they got closer the team slowed up. Shino motioned for each one to take a tree close to the bird, pointing at where he wanted them, while moving into position behind the bird. Naruto took up position on the bird's left and Hinata on the right. Taking out a kunai, Shino prepared to throw it at the bird, but just as he got ready to throw it the bird suddenly turned and looked him right in the eye before lying away. Shino was frozen by the bird's stare. Naruto however didn't, and he threw a shuriken at the bird that was easily evaded. Seeing Naruto needed help, as he was never good at kunai or shuriken throwing in the academy. She threw a kunai, but also missed. The two genin hopefuls peppered the weird bird with kunai and shuriken, with Shino following suit with the feeling of the bird's stare gone. Throwing his shuriken, Shino barely missed, but he was close enough that the hawk got spooked enough to drop the scroll from its mouth and fly away. Seeing the scroll fall, Shino had his Kikaichu come out and catch the scroll. However, just as the swarm of microscopic insects brought the scroll close to Shino's hand, a kunai buried itself into the parchment and lodged it into a nearby tree. That's when they noticed Kurenai was there and standing in front of the scroll. Congratulations team on finding all 5 items. You have passed and are now genin of Konoha, she tells them. All 3 preteens smiled, but didn't cheer or yell like you would expect. Of course they were really only expecting Naruto to be the one making a fool of himself. Shino was too reserved and Hinata too shy. Kurenai didn't want to admit it. But she was hoping the boy still had some of the fire he was known for, otherwise this team was going to be really dull. Now that that's over, please come closer, Kurenai directs and all 3 do. Can you guess what this team's main objective will be from what I had you do? Kurenai asks. It's a tracking team, Shino correctly guesses. Yes, tracking and locating will be this team's main objectives. However, we also might be sent to capture or locate low-level missing nin items, or objects as well, Kurenai tells them. Does that mean there will be no fighting? Naruto asks. No Naruto. While we will try to avoid fighting when possible, it is an unavoidable part of being a ninja, Kurenai answers. Naruto nods. He was different, but he still hoped to rescue princesses and defeat bad guys. Hinata felt a bit disappointed but hid it well. Any more questions? She asks. They each shook their heads. All right, tomorrow we'll go on our first mission. You're dismissed until then. Hinata. I'll walk you home, Kurenai says. As the 2 kunoichi left the grounds, Shino also left to inform his parents and clan about the new developments. Meanwhile, Naruto walked to the Hokage's residence. Time to get this over with, Naruto thought. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.